I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to start with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Ben, what do you got?
All right, April 4th, Selectmen's meeting. We'll start off with the department head updates. Robin Irving, land use.
Well, we just had a zoning meeting. We approved the area variance for LRH2, PAC 2000 for the Chesley lot. We'll be doing 4 units on the second and third floors. And that's consistent with the way it had been in before, so no surprises. Some conversation had come up about parking and garbage disposal for future management purposes. Planning board is next week. We have a technical subdivision for a lot line adjustment on Prospect Farm. That's pretty much the home lot is taking on more acreage so that they can have it in current use. So I don't see any big obstacles to that. There are 2 grants. Well, one is I just got the letter of, or notice that of a grant award. Remember I previously told you that I was going to submit for the water sustainability grant. It was like a series of grants through DES that it's all ARPA derived money. We did not get the feasibility grant that would have been the study to connect to the Groveton system and or do a study for an alternative well water source. But we did get $80,000 in grants for an expansion of the asset management plan, and that is to do some more asset mapping, but it's going to focus more on a fiscal plan and rate setting. So it'll be, it has a different, because it has a different focus, this will be more about budget setting and how to implement this in the future so that we start using the plan in capital management. So Ben put an ad out in the paper for the $31.95 acceptance of those grant funds, and you'll be given the grant papers probably at the next meeting.
Yeah, there'll be a public hearing at the next meeting concerning that grant and another one. If you don't mind, I'll just say we did get notification that we did receive the Gopher locality equipment grant, which was the $50,000 to go towards the purchase of the ambulances. So there'll be that public hearing and the one Robin just spoke about to accept those monies.
So another grant that I wanted to talk about was the MJRC is open. I think this is not the year to not submit a grant for the water tower. I've been talking with Tim, because they're in the asset management plan, there is a section that devotes itself particularly to redundancy of the system. And the tower is something that can help us extend water if the main went down. At least if it were full, we could at least supply some of the town for some time if we had a water tower up there. So I guess in the past 2 cycles, the town has not been granted this award. Let's try this year because of all the money that's out there, and maybe I'll switch it up on maybe the focus because of the asset management plan. I think that needs to be wrapped into this application, and we'll see how it goes. And so I think that there's that, and then I've also been downloading so many different capital improvement plans from all kinds of different towns and trying to create a backbone so that when I start to get a team together, we'll already have something in place. I only have the first couple of chapters. I think that having this asset management plan in ready and rolling will help a lot, and we'll be able to throw that into the mix as well. That'll take care of water and sewer. I think that we'll be able to use that kind of format and for highway. And I don't think there's any transportation money right now. There was a scenic byways grant that got announced today. Don't know if there's any projects out there that, if the town is looking into something like that. I'll email if we think of anything. That's it for me.
Thanks, Rob. Tim?
We're currently fixing the roads, obviously, and trying to keep up with them, the holes and the mud, and we're gonna try to get into doing some cleanup here soon. I'll probably get the broom on the sidewalk plow and get that going here within the next week or so. The truck we passed at town meeting is currently being built. They expect that will be here 1st of May.
Hey, very good, it's quick.
I have the numbers if you want to see them. You know.
Yep, were they able to come down?
They were $2,000 cheaper than they quoted us.
Perfect.
And that's for the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
That's
Okay, yep.
That's the other body. That's why I just scratched down the numbers I had. That's the
that's
price they quoted, that's the actual price.
Yep. And so they're a year out, everybody else is a year out?
Everybody else is a year out.
Perfect.
And then we ordered the Western Star early.
Yep.
He gave me a courtesy call and said it's being built right now.
So with that said, is the body all set to go too?
The body is sitting on the ground waiting.
Perfect.
The body did go up a little bit.
Okay.
But,
Awesome.
we should have it done, put together truck around sometime in June.
Good, thanks, that's great.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, I mean, I think as we talked about at previous selectmen's meetings, these are the types of situations we're gonna have to consider because, as an example, the 1 ton that was approved at the 2021 town meeting, we still don't have a delivery date or even a build date on that yet.
With that being said, I'd like to also, if we're gonna be looking for another truck next year, consider doing the same thing.
Yep.
Right. So
It's
basically a lot.
impossible to buy stuff.
Right.
Oh, it is,
So
it's terrible.
I think at least for the time being, part of what you consider is gonna be time frame of purchase. So is it something where, like with the Western Star, they'll order it with no guarantee that it'll go to us unless we sign a contract after approval of funding, or like the other vendors, we let them know when we want it and they tell us we gotta wait 12 to 18 months and with no guarantee on pricing at that point either.
The pricing's getting sort of jumps around terribly.
Right.
And their deadlines are never on either.
Right.
Yeah, I was curious when he said that he would be cheaper, because that doesn't always happen,
It doesn't, you're correct.
especially in today's world.
And he'll have the exact price when he brings it. We're obviously gonna inspect the truck before we sign for it.
Great,
That's it.
thank you.
So we have your blessing on that truck.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned.
Very good.
You guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Brian?
Chairman, you just told.
That's all I
I
got.
just tell you what to do? Okay.
I will make another note. I've gotten a few either texts or phone calls or comments about the condition of our roads in town, that they are exceptional to any of the other roads in the area. Some people actually even take pictures of the roads that they're on, and say that the statements usually are, I just found the worst road in the North Country and thank God for the Lancaster Highway crew. So I think that's it. I just want to highlight and point that out. That's Tim Brown and his crew, so, good.
They've always done that way. They've always had a good standard. I mean,
Yeah. But, shouldn't go unnoticed.
We haven't lost any cars in mud holes on any of the dirt roads, huh?
give it time. There is that.
Tim Bilodeau.
We finished up a project we've been working on for a while, the water plant. We last year, we had a warrant article for new chlorine pumps, and them are all in and running. I think I talked about that earlier, but we also redid the room that the chlorine pumps are in. We redid all the piping and painted it and made it look like brand new again. And now we're just starting on the fluoridation room. I'm hoping that DES 2 years ago had a grant for equipment grant. We applied and we got a fluoride analyzer. And I'm hoping this go around, maybe we can get them the spring for maybe some new fluoride pumps. So, but we're not changing the pumps right now. We're just kind of redoing the room. We're going to be starting water meter readings, I presume, soon. Charity has all the computer parts, so we got to do that, and then repairs. And been working with the gentleman for Amanusic Asphalt that's putting in the asphalt plant, getting him hooked up to the town water supply. So, and then probably, hopefully soon, we'll be hitting the ground running with all the outside work. All in all, this winter wasn't too bad, knock on wood. So I want to thank Robin for putting all that effort into getting that asset management grant, and that's going to be a huge help for us too. So
We're gonna
I
get
appreciate that.
a GIS, a handheld GIS out of that, and a line locator with transponder.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
See, our line locator we have now, it still works, but it's kind of out of date, and our sewer camera we have has the frequency that puts out. The current line locator we have doesn't receive that frequency, so we can't really locate sewer lines with using the camera as the transponder. So it's that one we have now has got to be 25 years old. So it's been well used, and it still works okay. But this new one that hopefully we'll end up getting is, we'll get another 25 years out of it. So that's in a nutshell, that's it.
Brian?
Our pre-crusher is ordered. Our rental should be here Wednesday to be installed. It's all tested. It is in rough shape, the rental, but it works good. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what it looks like. So that should be interesting. It'll be a good machine to test on, I guess. We are in the middle of doing our normal spring clean out. Electronics, fluorescent bulbs went out last week. Scrap metal's going out tomorrow. Cardboard probably next week. Trying to figure out a split load with another town to get rid of our propane tanks and fire extinguishers, just because we need so many of them and we don't generate that many 20-pound propane tanks. Our Freon guy should be here sometime in the next couple weeks to pump our Freon so that can get all cleaned up. And then we're just in the middle of doing a bunch of raking and cleaning up from the winter mess, which usually happens. Everything else has been going pretty smooth.
Yeah, thank you.
You good?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're free to go. All right, moving on. Old business, the March 21st meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the March 21st, 22 meeting minutes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass. Am I supposed to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
You didn't mark it. I don't know.
Pages that need to be
There are?
Oh, it's an excavation. No, you're right, it's excavation, sorry.
I question myself.
Next one, we have the gravel tax levy, AB aggregates, map R1, lot 006, tax levy sum of $2,757.20. Just sign on the front page,
Okay.
upper right-hand corner. September tax. Demetrius. And that's 2 places.
Oh, I didn't mark that one either.
No.
What a slack.
Did you run out of marking stickies?
Nope, I stuck those today. Is there only one on there?
No, there's 2 pages.
Right, but just one person. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Let her eat.
I'm just testing you, seeing if I know what I'm doing.
I'm not sure I know what I'm
That's
doing.
It's a brave thing to do. Timber tax for Demetrius Bagley, tax map R17, lot 45. Levy amount of $418.63. First and second page, please.
Yeah.
Sign. Now, notice of an intent to excavate for AB Aggregates, that's for the year April 1st, 22 to March 31st, 23. Tax map R1, lot 006, estimated cubic yards, 100,000 yards of gravel to be excavated, estimated. And there are 2 intents to excavate for Paul Crane, 2 separate lots, again for tax year April 22 to March 23. One is tax map R13 lot 66 and one is R13 lot 68. Both are estimating bank run of 100 cubic yards each. We have a supplemental intent to cut for Cheryl and Debbie McKillop on Garland Road, lot R11, map R11, lot 224, acreage of lot 86, acreage to cut is 40. This is just a supplemental for additional estimated amounts to be cut, and there's several white birch, black cherry, different kinds, so I won't read through it all. You're welcome to.
And there's 2 spots on this one?
No, just one.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yep.
It wasn't marked.
Nope, because it only had one. Yeah.
Where'd you sign? Oh, down there.
Yeah.
Metal. Got tabs.
Yeah, this one,
here.
it's obvious, right?
This one here, we're gonna be ready for this one.
Probably the only one that's messed up. Timber tax, levy, for total levy amount, $470.62. Sean McKillop and Barbara Peasley, well, two separate ones. Sean McKillop, his timber tax was $6.02. Barbara Peasley Smith, $464.60. Sign where the tabs are, please.
She found tabs for that one.
Yeah.
Cause I knew you were gonna have to dig deep for them.
W.B. Mason came in just before she did that one, I guess.
Get 'em all.
Guess that's it.
All right. Moving on, old business, just an update on the Kent Fountain situation. So, we have been in touch, have spoken with the insurance company. You've noticed we did remove the remnants of the fountain a few days later with the assistance of Barry Normando. He brought in his slings and gave some technical advice to the highway guys. Moved it, put it on pallets, and we have it stored up at the highway sand pit up off Prospect Street, Route 3. At the beginning, Barry was fairly optimistic that we might be able to salvage parts of it and put it back together. He's a little bit less optimistic about that, but he's still willing and happy to assist us in finding alternative opinions and bids. The insurance company's coming, a gentleman from Primex is coming tomorrow morning to look at it. My conversations with him are basically he's interested in getting prices for both a repair as well as a replacement. Obviously, repairing it would be better because it's the original granite that from what I understand, came from a quarry out off of out east, I believe, Garland Road, the Garland Brook area. If it can be repaired, and replacement is the only option. And I had this conversation with Shane earlier, and I also had it with a member of the Kent family. My hope is that some pieces of that fountain can be used in the replacement. It'd be nice to utilize some pieces of original stone in a new fountain. So I'll have more information after tomorrow. Like I said, the gentleman's coming up to look at the scene of the accident as well as view the stones, the remnants of the fountain. As for my conversations with some of the Kent descendants, there is a nephew, I believe it's a nephew of Faith Kent, and the name escapes me. I've had an email exchange with him. He lives in Littleton, and he had offered potentially donating to whatever we do if it's necessary. Another gentleman I spoke to is a John Whitcomb. I spoke with him a couple days after the accident, and he did call me back this morning, thankfully, because I didn't get his number after the first time, and I wanted to keep him in the loop. And I told him exactly what I told you. my hope also is when we have the final options or even just the final decision, I want to at least engage as many of the family members as possible in it, so they're kept in the loop, and they feel comfortable with what we're going to do. It certainly might not be what they want, but as long as they're made aware of it and have an opportunity to offer their thoughts, I think it's important as it is. The family gave it to the town. I think it's respectful that we at least continue to engage them, so.
Definitely.
That's
The only two pieces that I thought looked salvageable were the two little pedestals for the.
yeah, and I that's what I'm thinking too, Leon. I definitely, at the beginning, the first opinion was that maybe the tub could potentially be, it looked like the splits were actually along possible seams that were original, and that were then used to put it back. They put it together on site with those seams. The arch itself, which was one piece, came down, broke, and became two pieces. That probably wouldn't have been able to be salvaged. So I don't know. I don't know what the technology is. I mean, it's not like a little bit of mortar and some dry lock will keep it going. So
Yeah,
there's certain things that we can do and can't.
And the other concern is the break went through some of the writing, and would it look?
Right, scarred up. No. We do, I can't remember if I told you at the last meeting, the plaque, the bronze plaque that was on the front, that obviously did dislodge from the fountain. We do have that, well, he's gone, Tim Bilodeau, Dean Flynn grabbed that and brought it to the highway garage where that's being stored right now. So that was something they definitely didn't want to leave on scene, just in case it walked away.
And I was wondering, because when you look at the original pictures of it, that used to be, and I don't know if it was brass or what it was, there was a statue on top of that.
So
is there any clue where that ever?
No, there's not. But the little bit of reading or that I research I did on it, there was something that, and it was a long time ago. I believe, from what I read, basically a horse-drawn carriage hit it,
yeah.
And either that statue fell or the arch fell, whatever. But then it was for something, it disappeared after that. So. Nobody has any idea where it went from there, but I mean that was probably a few decades at best after it was first put up. So certainly it's way beyond anybody's time that could remember it.
I didn't know what.
Yeah.
It got stashed somewhere, or,
Yeah.
because it was pretty neat looking.
Can't remember what it was called.
Victory or something.
Yes, I think that might have been what it was. Yeah. So yeah. So that's where we're at with that. Obviously, further updates as we go along, and again, my hope is that we are getting also, as far as the light pole, that wooden pole that's out there. Obviously, that's temporary. Eversource did find a replacement pole to match the other ones, and they do have that on order to come in, and they're obviously slated to put the pole in when the time comes. Our highway guys will probably have to reset the foundation post, and they'll put that up and get that done. So, any questions on that? Okay. New business. Just an update. This is something I think that we might have touched upon within the last year, because I've only been town manager for a year, so I know it was within that time frame. I did have a conversation with a gentleman from Charter Communications, Spectrum, about updating our franchise agreement. Which we're due for, because our current franchise agreement, at least the one they have on record, and I think it's the most current one that I found in the office, dates back to 1960 something. So I didn't know they had TVs back then, but I guess they did. So we'll be having some conversations with him about updating that.
Just recalling history, when Pam Andrade was here, it should have been updated, because that's when the fire station got cable, and there was something added to the town hall.
The guy for Charter, he looked in his records and he said 1960 is the most current record he has.
That they have too?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, unless I
Maybe
haven't been
they
able.
just said they'd put that in there if we didn't do anything.
Maybe.
Well, I know at one point in time, the cable companies were offering for emergency services organizations to have free cable, so I'm wondering if that's just an
It
offer
could
that
be,
they
but I
have.
know that had come up at that time. I couldn't remember if that was part of the deal to renew it or.
I don't know. All I know is that's all either of us have records of, so. It's 3 pages long, the first page is a cover letter.
Bet it won't be that this time.
And the second page is a third page is a signature page, so, I don't know.
Definitely won't be that this time.
No. So, this will be my first foray into franchise agreements. Thankfully, we have a town resident, Chad Fillion, who's sitting in a room who I expect to call upon for his expertise on that.
I sat on Littleton's and worked with them through the first phase of the process, but there was a 7-town collaborative intermunicipal agreement that we needed to go through a lot of wrangling, but you and I can sit down and
Yep.
really.
So look for more on that.
Okay.
So good. And then for information, well, I guess there's a couple of new businesses. I guess maybe it's new business, maybe it's information. So I'll just do it now. The first quarter budget meeting is going to be April 19th. We are slated to have it up here. If for some reason it seems like a lot of people are here, we will move it downstairs. But 5:15 Tuesday, April 19th is the first quarter budget meeting. We do have one vacancy. They will consider letters of interest. I've received 3. One from Vicki Gibbs, one from John Garrison, and one from Rob Christie. So those will be considered at the meeting, as well as everything else that usually happens. Also want to mention we are starting the process of, and you'll see this room is maybe a little bit more discombobulated than usual. We're starting to go through our files, determine what files, what boxes we can purge and shred and get rid of, clear out some space, get ourselves on a schedule so once a year we pull whatever boxes we need to and get rid of it so we don't have all this stuff lying about, clean out the hallway, trying to clean out this room too. My hope is that maybe we can put together a project for maybe next year to kind of make this room look a little bit more presentable. Since we're on prime time now, if you guys aren't getting makeup, the room should. So that's my hope. So not that this room really ever looks fantastic, and it does look like there's a lot of stuff going on. It might look a little bit more haphazard and scattered over the next few weeks or a couple months. So just to give you guys an update on that, so you don't wonder why it looks like a bomb went off in here. Now, continuing on with information, we did get our BTLA, Bureau of Tax and Land Appeals, for the appeal of the Rob Christie Revocable Trust against Lancaster, Town of Lancaster, for his tax appeal. So the date of that hearing is going to be Wednesday, June 15th at 12 noon in Concord. That's in your packet. We got 2 letters from NHDES. The first one was for the town of Lancaster, just a notification that the Lancaster Grange wastewater treatment plant, our state discharge permit has been approved by DES. We also, and I'm not quite sure why, but we did get a notice that Grofton's wastewater treatment plant and Northumberland Village wastewater treatment plant, their state discharge permits have been approved as well. So I don't know whether that was just a mismailing or we get these normally. So I was gonna follow up. I didn't get a chance to today. Also in your packets, you just got information from NHDOT. They send this out every year. It's just their policies and procedures concerning emergency road closures, the town road inventory, how to apply for driveway permits, excavation permits, parade permits, and how to sponsor a highway. So that was just something for your information. Robin mentioned earlier that the planning board meeting is going to be next Wednesday, April 13th, and there's one public hearing concerning Prospect Farm, John Davidge lot line adjustment. And we have a few building permits. The one is a renewal for a Richard and Ashley Mattis. Just a renewal, they're putting in a prefab modular single-family home, and that's off of Sunnyview Drive, 14 Sunnyview Drive. Molly White off on Church Street, they're converting an existing garage and conversion of existing garage and first floor off deck into a one-bedroom accessory dwelling unit with kitchen and living room. Full thing, install a full bath, and that's, since it's just renovating an existing building, there's no change to the building footprint, so there's no setback issues, and that's off of Church Street. Bill McCartan on Martin Meadow Pond Road is removing an existing garage and replacing it with a slightly larger demolition of existing 26 by 22 detached garage and replaced with a 28 by 28 stick-built detached garage. That's not his house, it's the kind of the guest house that's right before his driveway on Martin Meadow Pond Road, 163 Martin Meadow Pond Road. This is the building permit that pertains to a previous site plan approved by the planning board for Leon Rideout to construct a storage unit, 20 unit, 1-story stick-built 30 by 100 foot storage facility off of Causeway Street, 36 Causeway Street. William Randall, 9 Fletcher Street. He's removing an existing garage, not replacing it, and renovating in kind a two porches, 120 by 7 and 123 by 7, with replacement of roof support posts, deck planks, and other structural components. Again, no change to the footprint, so no issue with setbacks. And again, that's 9 Fletcher Street. And that was everything. That's the great stuff.
That's all she wrote?
That's all I wrote.
What about your appointments to boards?
The appointments to boards.
Normally done the first selectmen's meeting after town meeting.
We did that. We had some, the March meeting.
You did?
There was Conservation Commission and Zoning Board.
Yeah.
Planning Board, they are gonna do some, they have some letters, they're gonna consider those at the next meeting to come back to the Select Board. But
Yeah,
the
this is
Zoning
actually-
Board and the Conservation Commission, they did last meeting.
They're full, they're full. I didn't see it last meeting, I didn't see that.
Well, then you must have been dozing off because they did it. Okay, do you have the minutes?
I asked about it, you said you hadn't done it because you hadn't had any applications.
That's the Planning Board. Rachel Stewart was here for the Conservation Commission.
Yes, I know she was here.
And I remember saying Linda Ogle was moved up to a full-time regular member to the Zoning Board. Chris McBetty was reappointed and moved down to.
Sleeping again, wake me up when you
Well, it must have been your snoring, not Rose's, at the last meeting.
Now, I guess what I'm gonna say is you're slightly lacking on the planning board, and then I saw in the paper where you said the people had to come into the selectmen's meeting to present themselves if they had any interest. Is that correct? Did I misread that?
No, I don't think I said the selectmen's meeting, I said that the board that they're considering. I can't remember how the ad was written, but I believe it said you may be asked to go to the meeting to be considered, for their recommendation, right.
All right, but then they would come before the select board, because the planning board isn't gonna appoint these people, you are gonna appoint these people with the recommendation of the planning board, correct? Correct. All right, but I guess what I'm saying is that you've been sadly lacking on a lot of boards over the years, and you better be filling them up.
Ben has been proactive at it. There's a lot of people that just don't wanna deal with that or be a part of that.
I know, I've campaigned for it too. And there's a good reason that people don't want to be a part of it too.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is they don't get any backing from the town, you know? I've seen it, I've been here for 25 years or so involved in town politics, and I've seen it. There's no need of a member of the select board running a committee member off, or a member of the town crew running a member off. And I've seen it happen recently.
Yeah.
We gotta get together, pull together here and get some boards going. People, there are people out there that would have and did work for the good of the town of Lancaster. And they don't do it anymore because they were run off by officials.
I beg to differ with that. Alan, you gotta remember there's two sides to every story.
There certainly is. Just because somebody doesn't agree with somebody doesn't mean they have to run them off.
I don't think that was ever, no.
I will say, I've never been aware of anybody running anybody off.
I haven't either.
Has there been disagreements? Yeah. And does somebody leave because there's been disagreements and they weren't happy with it? Probably, yes. But that's not because of the disagreement. It's because the person just didn't feel like putting up with the disagreement anymore. And that's part of being a board. If you're making a decision, you should expect whatever decision you make, you're going to piss somebody off. Because what one person wants a yes for, the other person's going to want a no for. So I know that, Alan, but you know what? I will.
But I'm seeing that the boards, you can't fill the boards with good people because of the situation. It's got to be remedied.
Well, I would consider the good person is the person that can deal with a little bit of conflict, that will, if they have a lot of conviction, and when they make a decision, they're going to stick by it, even if it doesn't make people happy. And if some people do have a disagreeing comment about it, they're not going to be upset and think that they're unappreciated and then leave the board. They're actually going to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but since it's my decision, I'm going to stick with it. I mean, just like, as you know, Alan, you've been in that position, these gentlemen have been in the position, and they're still in the position that they make a decision and they don't make it based on the fact that who am I going to make happy today? It's based on what they believe is right, what they believe is fair.
Best interest for the town.
Exactly. Right.
Not for personal interest.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely.
That was done, and I'm not blaming this board, and I'm not blaming you as a town manager, but that was done continuously with the old board and the old town manager. Was a good old boys network, and it's got to be broken.
So that's
we're working on.
And then I appreciate that, Alan, but I wish to God that you would stop bringing up the fact that things happened a certain way years ago, and then turn around and say, but it's not happening now. So
I'm giving you credit. It's not happening now. We're coming out of it, but let's continue to have it.
Well,
you get some good people on these boards.
And that's
We
my
don't
hope.
need a bunch of dubs on these boards.
Right, which is why we're being selective, and we're seeking in a responsible.
You haven't got anybody applying. How can you be selective?
Well, I guess by the fact that I'm not pulling people off the sidewalk and telling them to come to a meeting, that's being selective. I'm waiting for somebody that really, truly wants to be there and do something.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I could probably pick a half a dozen people off the sidewalk to come and sit in on a meeting, but that's not responsible, and it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the town. So
there's nothing wrong with when you know a person that would make a good board member of approaching him and say, hey, listen, we're looking for people. There's nothing wrong with soliciting, as long as you don't solicit people that you know wouldn't fit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I said enough. I'll wait.
Really?
I'll wait here for the next thing and see you guys fill your committees with a broad cross-section.
I will, no, that's fair, but I will say, I think that we are doing a very good job about trying to find some great diversity and a broad spectrum of individuals on the board, so we're not filling it full of the same people, whether it be the same age, the same gender, the same profession.
How about you, what's your gender situation on the Conservation Commission?
There's 2 gentlemen and 5 women.
You're counting the select board
Yeah.
representative?
Yeah. Well, there's 7 members of the Conservation Commission, aren't there?
5 women and two men.
Yeah.
That's not a representative thing. I'm not gonna complain because they're doing it. And nobody else would do it, but what I'm saying is, it sure certainly is not a broad cross-section of society.
No, but it's better than it used to be.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
That's why it's all women for a while. Let's just keep that in mind.
I keep it in mind all the time, Alan. And I'm glad you're not complaining at all. Wicked glad.
Amen.
Okay. Anything else from the public? No. Anything else from the board?
I am good. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion adjourned.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Masons are still.